Hello, everyone from Washington, D.C. Welcome to AgriTalk. The folks you hear in the room with me are from Iowa and Missouri. They are representing the Iowa and Missouri Farm Bureau delegations that are here in Washington, D.C. I think 2 of about 8 farm bureaus that are out here this week for Ag Week and for lobbying and discussions on the Hill and discussing some key issues. And who said there's not unity in agriculture? We have Iowa and Missouri in the same room, and as long as we don't talk football or basketball, I think we're going to get along really, really well, because I think we can find a lot of other issues we can agree on here, all right? Well, we have a great program lined up for you today. We're going to be talking a little bit later with South Dakota Senator John Thune, a member of the Senate Ag Committee. A little bit later, we're going to talk with former Congressman Charlie Stenholm, and then we're going to be talking with the presidents of both Missouri and Iowa Farm Bureau. But we're very happy to kick off the program with the new Chief of Staff for USDA. I remember her from a different life many years ago when she was the Washington representative for the American Soybean Association. She has made her way. I'm going to assume, Krysta, that this is an upward move here as we keep going now to Chief of Staff at USDA. Please welcome Krysta Harden. Good to see you.
Thank you, Mike. It's great to be here. I want to thank the listening audience for tuning in, and especially the folks in town, how important it is that you take the time from your families and your businesses to come to Washington and talk to folks about agriculture. So thank you for being here too.
All right, so we're talking a lot about budget, and we've heard from Secretary Vilsack, hey, we've kind of given. We've made cuts in crop insurance. We put money towards deficit reduction, but the feeling is that isn't going to be enough, that more cuts will have to be made, and a lot of concern by this group and others in agriculture. What will this do to the safety net? What can you tell us? What is the approach that USDA wants to take to assure there will be a safety net?
Well, that's a good question. I think we all do agree that we do have to do something about our deficit, and I think that is something everybody does realize. But it needs to be a managed approach, in our opinion, and making sure that we have time to manage the cuts and the reductions so they're not drastic and don't impact one part of the sector more than another, and that they're fair, and that we have time for people to adjust and readjust to the impacts that they will have.
Do you foresee something like direct payments being eliminated or changed in some way, or how do you see an approach there?
That's a very good question, and I'm not sure about. I think everything's being looked at, frankly, and I think the latest round that we're looking at now for the continuing resolution that I believe the House may start looking at as early as today or tomorrow is looking at various programs and priorities at USDA and looking at things. So I think most things are on the table for the long term, maybe not in the short term, but clearly I think Congress is going to be looking at everything.
Yeah, we're in a city right now still trying to figure out last year's budget, let alone what this one going to be for this year or the next year or beyond that. Trade real quickly, South Korea free trade agreement, this is a key issue.
We're for it. We're ready for it. We're ready. We hope that folks will get behind it and talk to their members of Congress, especially the ones in town today, but those at home as well. We are looking very forward to that moving. It's a great deal for agriculture. Nothing's perfect, obviously, but we think it means some good things for farmers and ranchers.
A lot of people wondering why Panama and Colombia are not included.
Well, I think we will get to those, most definitely. They're very important as well, but we have an agreement ready to go, basically, and we're ready to have Congress act on that. It does mean something very, very good for us. I think the EU agreement kicks in July 1. We want to make sure that ours is done before then, if at all possible, and I know Australia and Korea are in talks as well. So we really think it's important to go ahead and act on Korea, but Panama and Colombia are important.
We're going to talk more with Senator Thune about that, but I have to throw this question out here to you. Sure. As Chief of Staff at USDA, there is a feeling, I think, in much of production agriculture, be it real or be it perceived, but there's a feeling that this Department of Agriculture is not really focused as much on production agriculture as it is more of the social issues or, alternative agriculture or anything other than real hardcore production agriculture. Can you tell us, give us some insight at USDA, is that a correct assessment or are you being maybe misjudged in some of those things?
I have to say we're being misjudged. Just from my background, for those who don't know me, I grew up on a farm in southwest Georgia. My parents are still there. They still farm. So when I call home, I get an earful from my daddy and my mama. You know, whether we're doing things right or wrong, usually they point out the wrong first. So I'm a farm girl, and all of my entire career has been involved in production agriculture. And I would not feel comfortable there. I would not want to work there if what you outlined earlier was correct. We do care about farmers. We do care about all farmers. And something that personally kind of gets to me is when I hear folks trying to pit farmers against farmers. There are not that many of us. And I think it's very, very important in these critical times in the world that we come together in agriculture and work together, and that there's plenty of room for everybody on the agriculture tent. All farmers are critical to me. And I just, I hope that folks will really look at our actions and see the things that we do. We look at farm income, look at our trade balance, and see that things are happening really good in agriculture. And this secretary and this president, and I can tell you for one chief of staff for certain, cares about farmers and cares about production ag.
You keep listening to your daddy. That'll be good.
Don't worry, I don't have much choice.
All right, thanks, Krysta.
Thank you very much.
Krysta Harden, Chief of Staff at USDA. This segment of AgriTalk brought to you by AuctionTime.com. Use AuctionTime.com to buy heavy-duty trucks, farm equipment, and construction equipment. No buyer's fees, no hidden reserves, and you can register for free at AuctionTime.com. Live bidding opens today for many machines, so visit AuctionTime.com today. Poll question this week. Senator Thune talked about it earlier to this group. We'll talk about it in just a moment. Should land be taken out of CRP for more crop production? Log on and vote, yes or no, at agritalk.com. We'll have the results for you coming up on Friday. All right, we'll take a break here in Washington, D.C. Back with South Dakota Senator John Thune next on AgriTalk.